Live tonight here on the American Sim Network, it is the Anarchy Motorsports Cup Series Championship Racing from Homestead, Miami Speedway. I'm Matt Egan, soon to be joined by Ronald Klein, but tonight we are watching the best of the best go head-to-head for the last time in 2019 here at Homestead, and for the final time at Homestead is the championship race in the Anarchy Motorsports Cup Series. Glenn Murphy Jr. ahead by 16 points effectively with a lock and key for that championship title. He's got that one nearly put away, not fully, but he's got a pretty good handle on it right now. We will talk to Glenn Murphy Jr. here tonight before we go racing, and we'll try and get a word in with him. Glenn Murphy Jr., have you got a copy on us?
Yeah, can you guys do me a huge favor and pull me up in like a minute? I'm about to start qualifying.
Yep, no problem.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it.
We'll watch his lap in that 48 car very shortly and see how it goes. It'll be interesting to see how he runs it, knowing that he has a championship, pretty much settled. I don't want to say completely locked up, but of course, he's got it very nicely put away. 16 points to the good. He needs to have, something catastrophic happen to him to lose this championship here tonight. Ron, have you got a copy of me?
Yes, sir.
Well, what do you expect to see out of this race tonight, and what do you expect to see out of Glenn Murphy Jr., looking to see what happens here? Again, pretty much guaranteed the championship with a 16-point lead.
If I'm not going to be a conventional person. I think when people would think about this, I think a lot of people are going to say, hey, the 48 should just go out there, run, get himself into a safe spot, safe place, whatever. That usually throws a driver off. You don't want to do that. Just go out there and drive as you normally would. But if there are situations where, you get uncomfortable or the pack of cars around you is not making you comfortable, lift a little bit. Give them some space and then get back to doing what you've been doing all season long. So if I was him, I'd go out there and I'd do exactly what I've been doing all season long. I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, that's definitely a good way to look at it. He's had a good thing going on all season long, and I don't see, like you said, I don't see why you would want to change it. Now, given the fact that he has the championship pretty much in a lock, do you think that he's going to push maybe a little bit harder even and just try and go for all the glory and get the win here tonight?
I don't think that he'll push too hard in the beginning of the race. I think maybe if you get down towards the final, we'll say 20 laps, maybe at like lap 100 and he's still got car left and he's within contention, or he's even out front, that maybe he does push the car a little bit, but not to the point of where it's uncomfortable, just doing the same thing that he's been doing all year long. I don't think that he'll take the chance of putting it in the wall over driving it.
Well, as we get ready to go racing here, cars are gridding up. We'll get a quick word with potential champion Glenn Murphy Jr. Glenn, have you got a copy on us? Glenn, are you there?
They're gridding up right now. He may be setting everything up. Give him just a moment. Or he might be ignoring us, one or the other.
Well, I would hope he's not ignoring us.
What's up? No, I'm here. What's going on?
All right, there we go. We got Glenn Murphy Jr. with us. We're going to get a quick word in with you before we go green here. Looking at another championship, 2 in a row. I think 3 in a row. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
I'm going for 4 in a row.
4 in a row. How about that? Well, I wasn't here for the first of 4.
Right.
But I mean, how does that feel to be in a position where you can go for the 4th championship in a row?
Yeah, I believe it started in 2016, or they were doing half seasons back then. But feels good. Still got a race. There's a lot of guys in here tonight, so there's still an opportunity to not win, but we'll do the best job we can and see. As long as we just have a solid race at the end, I think we got a good shot at it. So we'll see.
Yeah, now how does that car handle for you here? I know you're not a fan of this package, but what do you think of it at Homestead with the way this track is?
I used to love the old Homestead because it would get really loose and you could really drive the car, but practice was okay, I guess. I mean, you could still run pretty hard for a couple laps and get away from people, but I really don't know what to expect. I just have to wait and see how it plays out here.
All right. Well, any parting words before we let you go? Let you go here.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys doing this all season for us. It's been a blast. I'm happy the season's wrapping up, and hopefully I'm talking to you guys at the end.
Yeah, we can't wait to be talking to you. Hopefully at the end of this race, and hopefully a lot next year in 2020.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Glenn Murphy Jr., driver of that number 48 car, going for 4 championships in a row here tonight.
And here's your starting lineup real quick. The 81 of Joshua Susi, Jonathan Swartz is on the outside. Glenn Murphy Jr., Josh Thaxton, Hank Allen, Randy Arms, Matthew Hoyle, Joshua Abney, Brian Sullivan, Tyler Pop, Clay Dilladine, Kevin, can't pronounce his last name, Barry Hines, Brandon Thornhill, Andrew Fezenden, Joseph Green, Jameson Miller, Ryan Broderick, Michael Tant, Chris Ostrander, Tyler Meeks, Ruster Farrell, and Scott Tucker.
And
Green flag is out, and we're
racing
racing.
from Homestead for the final time in 2019. Great start by Josh Susie. He leads them down into 1 and 2. Jonathan Schwartz, Glenn Murphy Jr. battling it out side by side. This is for second. Murphy, Schwartz, Thaxton fourth. Hank Allen runs fifth. Hank Allen's only win in 2019. It came at Daytona at the beginning of this season. Can he squeeze out one more before the end of the year? We'll find out in 125 laps. 3 wide now. Hank Allen to the top. He almost brushes the wall. The first lap of the last race will be led by Josh Susie. No, Jonathan Schwartz. How about that?
Jonathan Schwartz strong on that high side, making a good run here, coming off of turn 2, going to have a good little bit of momentum coming down that backstretch, going to nose out in front of the 81 just by a little bit. The 41 ducking down. It's going to probably slow him down through the middle of the corner as the 81 pulls back in front of the 58 here, coming down the front stretch, going to lead lap number 2.
Yeah, and correction, the 81 did lead the first lap of the night. Schwartz got it right after the line, but the first lap was led by that 81 car. They're battling it out like it's the last lap of the race. We're only 3 laps into the show. If they're racing like this now, man, I can't wait to see what's in store for us in 122 laps from now.
58 gets a little bit of the wall going into 3. Susie running him up high here. That's going to have
3 wide.
3 wide going down the front stretch.
And Susie backs out of it.
Yep, that quickly changes as Susie backs down just a little bit. 48 car going to drive it down into turn 1 and 2. See if he can hold that line. He cannot get enough momentum to get up beside the 81. As we go back up front, Jonathan Schwartz just about a half car length in front.
And don't forget, Glenn Murphy Jr.'s 16-point lead wants to extend it to 17 by leading a lap here. He's got to lead just 1 to get that bonus point. Right now, that lap being led by Jonathan Schwartz yet again. Second lap of the night led for him. And he is doing really well on that outside line. Murphy going to try and run that top line now. And one interesting thing, you look at the track conditions right now, late evening or mid-evening, I'd say. Possibly ending this track late evening, early nighttime conditions, depending on how fast they get through this caution-wise. It'll be very interesting to see how these drivers adapt to and change over the course of a run. And the question is, a car that's good now may be good a little too early on. You maybe want to have a car that really adapts to running into the nighttime hours as opposed to very early on in this race.
As we got a good little battle going on right now between Tyler Pop and Hank Allen. That is for the 7th position. The 13 car driving down to the inside of the number 3 car. 3 car seems to be falling back just a little bit. 13 washing up just a little bit. No contact. 13's now got her side by side. He just misses the nose there at the start-finish line.
Yeah, and Hank Allen doing a great job on that top line. Now, mind you, again, his only win was Daytona, but he has been a consistent driver all season with an average finish of 10th. And that's just impressive to see. And a finish no lower in the field than it looks like. Well, he finished 38th at Daytona in the duels, but Atlanta, his lowest finish was 28th. But again, average finish at 10th place, average start at 9th. Gotta say, that's pretty good. And in this season, he has had 22 top 10s. Driver consistently scoring up in the front of the field. Gotta hand it to him.
As we see these front two cars battling back and forth, the 58 sends it hard, gonna slide it up to the track, losing a little bit of momentum. We'll see what the 81 does here. The 81 does cut down underneath. We're gonna have another lead change coming to the start finish line. The 48 now hot on the bump road. The number 81 car, we'll see if Glenn Murphy Jr. can get by that 58, who's running the high line through 1 and 2. Not going to happen. Going to fall back in line as we go down the backstretch.
Yeah, I was about to say, watch Glenn Murphy Jr. here. He's just kind of waiting for something to happen, and he's doing it brilliantly. He knows he needs to lead this race, but he knows he can still win the championship without winning the race. There he goes for a spot on Jonathan Schwartz. On the inside of him now, he'll look to the inside, and will he get the spot? Yes, he does. He'll clear the 58 car, Glenn Murphy Jr. up to second, 10 laps into this race, 9.5 laps down, and a little bit of a wiggle there. Might have had some contact from the 58, but he's pulling away.
As we have almost a 3-wide battle here. Oh, this could go bad. Wow, the 58 really checked up. The 18 checked up. The 8 ended up checking up. Then the 29 checked up. Good job by all those drivers keeping it clean there. Randy Arms was making his way forward there until that little bit of a momentum swing. He's going to have a little bit of work to do. Randy sitting in the 5th position currently, right behind the, 6th position, sitting right behind the 29 of Matthew Hoyle. Meanwhile, back up front, Joshua Susi pulling away to about 3 car lengths over Glenn Murphy Jr. now.
Yeah, Randy Arms, a great driver, no doubt, and one of the fastest drivers on track usually. But his last win, now you got to bear this in mind, we've been racing since February. His last win of 3, well, it came all the way back. It wasn't even a points race. That was an exhibition race at Eldora Motor Speedway in the trucks. So it has been a long time since we've seen that number 8 machine go to victory lane here. He's overdue by his standards. You think we'll see it happen here tonight?
I'd say that there would be a good chance of it happening. I think anybody in the top 12 right now, I would say, has a chance to win this race, depending on pit strategy, where if there's any cautions or not. I believe that a bunch of fast drivers out here, I wouldn't count anybody out at this point, especially just being 13 laps into it.
Yeah, Jonathan Schwartz, another driver who I'd say looking to win here and definitely could win here. Now, he is 4th in the point standings. He's had 2 wins to his name in 2019. His last win came at the Roval not too long ago, but he's usually good at these mile and a halves, and we'll see that, him running 3rd. Matt Hoyle's last win was at Chicagoland, one of the most exciting finishes I have ever personally seen. But can he get one here in maybe a less exciting fashion? I don't know. But he's certainly running like he can.
Yeah, the 29 car is definitely on the move as he just gets by the 18. He'll probably complete the pass here if there's no holdup, which I don't see. He has the ability to kind of slide up here. We're going to see him probably move up in front of the 18 of Josh Thaxton. So that will put him now in the 5th position. That will put Josh Thaxton back one position.
Yeah, Thaxton falls back to 5th now. And again, you got to remember, they go into this race 16-point differential. Thaxton needs Glenn Murphy Jr. to effectively finish dead last for a chance at this championship. And I really don't see that happening to that 48 car here tonight.
Well, Matt, you can never say never, and you can never give up when you're inside of one of these cars. You got to drive it to the bitter end, no matter what. Even if you're damaged, if something were to happen to Glenn Murphy Jr., as long as he's able to get back out on track and finish in the position that he needs to, then no harm, no foul. As we see the 18 now battling with the 58. 58 really seems to be kind of dropping off here. He's really fallen off. The 29 and the 18 moving forward, 58 moving back.
Yeah, and you are right. Josh Thaxton, of course, still mathematically in the hunt to win a championship, but it is a long shot. But again, not impossible. 18 laps in now.
Yeah, basically you have 18 drivers on the lead lap right now. If a caution were to come out that keeps 18 cars on the lead lap, and probably gives the driver that's one lap down his lap back, so that puts 19 cars back on the lead lap. So definitely not impossible for Thaxton to come away if something were to happen, say on the last lap, and there were 19 cars on the lead lap. You know, it could all go up in smoke, so to speak.
And 19 laps in here. Do you think we'll see a caution anytime soon? These guys have ran pretty clean these opening laps, and they've done a great job keeping off of each other, even in some really close racing situations. We've seen them three wide. Matt Hoyle now up to third. Battle for position. Looks like Randy Arms falls back to eighth. Clay Dildon's Exalta machine makes the pass for seventh.
I don't really think, as long as the drivers are smart here, turn 4 is really where they're gonna have to watch out. The cars are probably starting to get tight. As long as nobody overdrives 4, we shouldn't be seeing any kind of caution flags. Really impressed with the 29 and the 18. They're continuing to move forward. Of course, if you look up front, the 81 is just kind of walking away from the 48 currently. And that can be, like you said, could be track conditions right now. Maybe the car is not to Glenn Murphy Jr.'s liking. Maybe the track's going to change a little bit, or maybe he's just kind of in a good spot and knows that Susie's fast and he's not going to push. He's not going to overdrive the car. So time will tell as we see the 29 continuing to close that gap between him and the 48. But the 18 kind of just glued to his bumper.
Yeah, Josh Thaxton using the draft off Matt Hoyle or whatever benefit he's getting, and is definitely closing in with Hoyle to the 48. And I think it's just a matter of track conditions. Glenn Murphy Jr. never been a fan of this package, and I think it's not helping him right now. Luckily, though, even if Thaxton were to win, as long as Glenn Murphy, again, finishes really within the top 5, or, again, without finishing dead last, Glenn Murphy Jr. pretty much has this one locked up. He has to finish, I'd say, really within the top 10 to be safe.
It's really cool that they had enough cars out here to make it possible for Thaxton to challenge for a championship. Unfortunately, we are now down to 18 cars on the lead lap. Again, still possible, because if he's 17 points back and there's 18 drivers out there, and if Glenn Murphy Jr. doesn't lead a lap and somehow Thaxton obviously wins the race, he leads a lap and wins, that's 2 points, plus all the positions, that would turn the championship over to Thaxton. So it's cool that there is a possibility for him, and as a racer, that's all you can really hope for going into the last race, is that you actually have a chance to win the championship. Is it likely? No, probably not. But is it possible? Yes. So kudos to the entire organization here at AMS and for having enough cars to make it, a 2-car battle to where Glenn Murphy Jr. just didn't even need to show up.
Yeah, if something goes catastrophically wrong on that 48 car, it is Josh Thaxton's championship to lose at that point. But as you touched on, he effectively needs to not only lead a lap, he needs to win the race. If Thaxton were to finish 4th, and even if Murphy finished last, I'd still have it in doubt if Thaxton would win it.
Tell you what, we got a real good 3-car battle going on. Oh, little bumping going on with the 58 getting into the back of that Exalta number 24 car of Clay Dildine or Dilladine. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Sorry if I'm butchering it.
I've always said Dildine, and
Okay.
I've never had an angry complaint.
Copy that.
Whether or not that's because he doesn't know how to contact me, that I don't know.
There was a really good battle going on there. All 3 cars were kind of nose to tail, and they were kind of starting to peak out a little bit. The 24 went down low, got a little bump from the 58 that kind of upset the car, and looks like they're kind of singling back out. And we'll see if they bring it back together and see if there's any other battles going on as I kind of go through the field. Looking at the 110 of Andrew Fessenden, looks like he has gotten tight and gotten himself into trouble somewhere. That right front is crinkled up. Brandon Thornhill. So there's 3 cars there too. Andrew Fessenden, Brandon Thornhill, and the 3-car of Hank Allen. And everybody else kind of seems to be single file and spread out just a tad as we see the 14 has pitted and come back out on track unless he spun. Let me rewind that and see what something happened here with the 14. I'm gonna go back and look at this real quick, Matt.
Yeah,
Coming off of 4, the 14 gets into the
lot
wall,
of damage.
corrects it, goes down, hits the
Oh, he's
inside
spinning
wall,
out.
is in the grass.
He almost spun out going into pit lane there too. I don't know if you just
Yep.
saw that.
So
but
he was down on the pit road. I thought he was coming off pit road. He basically went down the grass and picked up the pit road and then came back out on track and then went down pit road. So
and he missed his pit box to boot. Luckily, the fast
Yep.
repair will help him, but yeah, he's got to be a little bit angry in that car. Well, Hank Allen, if you remember last week, Ron at Phoenix, well, he's back out on track, and I wonder if he's gunning for the driver he was looking for.
I don't believe so. I'm not sure who that other driver was. If it's the driver that I'm thinking, I believe that driver is not in the race tonight.
Yeah, it was Tyler Meeks.
Yeah, that driver is not currently
Yeah,
in the field.
Well,
so.
he did grid. He did qualify. He did come into the show, and he would have started 23rd, but he is not taking. And it actually shows that he might have done 1 lap. But other than that, no, he is. Yeah. Actually, no, he hasn't turned.
No, but we don't
Yeah,
need
he
to get
didn't turn
into
it
that. We'll just focus on the racing at hand. We got Josh Osusi out in front by 2.7 seconds over your championship leader as he runs currently. Glenn Murphy Jr. 2.7 seconds back. However, his biggest rival, the number 18 of Josh Thaxton, is
and Tyler Pop down pit lane. Looks like pit stop starting about 31 laps in. It'll be Jonathan Schwartz along with Randy Arms hitting the pits. These will be the first ones in. Now remember, folks, pit lane here. Oh, and we see one spinning out going into pit lane. It looked like one of the drivers got loose heading for the pit road entry, and that was Jonathan Schwartz. He got sideways there. Held on to it, though. Now, one thing to remember here at Homestead, folks, these drivers have to use the access road entering and exiting pit lane, and that is unlike any other track on the NASCAR circuit. Well, Indianapolis, you have to use it exiting, but you don't have to use it entering pit lane, this being the only track where you have to use it entering. So definitely something to keep in mind, and these drivers, I wonder if anyone will forget that. I've seen it happen before. And that'll be the big thing for these guys to remember, not to forget that. If they forget that, that would be absolutely catastrophic.
I'm kind of interested to see what the strategy is going to be here. Thaxton seemingly is going to do whatever the 48 does, it looks like. And I don't know that I would do that. If you got to win the race, you got to beat the 81.
Well,
you got to do something different.
Well, remember, he tried something different last week at Phoenix, and that's partly what put him into a 16-point difference. That and a bad showing at Texas Motor Speedway. As
your championship leader down pit road. we'll watch him and see. I'm going to watch him anyway, and I can report if see anything that does not go well for him. Makes it cleanly onto pit road.
So for Thaxton, you got to kind of remember, I would kind of do maybe not the exact same lap, but I would definitely stick to a very, very similar pitting strategy.
I would go opposite of what everybody else does, because that's the only way that you're going to win the race. If you're not fast enough, and he's not fast enough to run down that 81. He was gaining on the 48, who is in his pits now, getting his service and coming out. Susie's down pit road. Thaxton is out there still running. If I'm Thaxton, I run it out of fuel.
Well,
I don't bring that car down until it runs out of. You've got to do the complete opposite of what everybody else is doing. If they're going to stay out.
Yeah, but look at the real race from last night, and Kevin Harvick. He tried to do that, and
yeah, but he wasn't close enough. He wasn't close enough. He was too far back when he did it.
It put Harvick into a pretty bad situation. So I mean, I see where you're coming from. I really do, but you know, I feel like taking that kind of a risk. At least he's doing it early, where that if it goes wrong, he can recover. But that being
we'll
said,
see here. We'll see. He's going to lose some time because he stayed out longer.
Negative.
But we'll see. I think he was about 4 seconds behind. I don't recall exactly, but I think he was about 4 seconds behind. But he just made a major mistake.
And
he spun it coming into pit road.
Going into pit lane, so that
he didn't hurt the car. He barely bumped it, but he's going to lose a lot of time.
He's already lost a lot of time because of the fact that he stayed out, in my opinion, way too long. And then he's just lost even more time on account of that spin.
And I'm not saying the pressure did it to him, but sometimes pressure can make you do things like that. You know, he's trying to get every little bit that he can, and just made a slight mistake. But he can still recover. It's early enough. If all it takes is one caution, and he's right back in it. So. We'll see. I think we're going to have a new leader when we cycle through here. It's not going to be Joshua Susie.
Yeah, I think Matt Hoyle might get the lead. And yeah, he does. Everyone's pitted. So Matt Hoyle, driver of the 29, he last won at Chicagoland Motor Speedway on a fuel strategy.
So he was
tonight.
He was one of the first ones to pit. So we'll see what his fall off is towards the end of the run, and see if these guys really, run him down. And we probably won't have the opportunity right now, at least, with Thaxton. If this thing was to go green, would have been good to see what Thaxton would have done staying out so much later. His tires, he would have had fresher tires towards the, end of the run, and seeing if he could make that up. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to probably see that. Yeah, I am showing him Josh Thaxton currently in the 11th position. He's now 17 seconds back.
Jr. is up in third now, and I'm telling you, this is why I kind of say that whole staying out late. I see where it can be good, but
what I'm saying though is
work.
You're not going to win a race if you're not fast enough. You got to do something different. You got to do some kind of strategy to try to beat them. So by staying out longer, that was his strategy. That he would have tires longer in the run, and eventually, like on the last run, maybe he could just run all out. But unfortunately, he's got a lot of digging to do. And the leaders are closing in on that number 29 very rapidly. So I think Joshua Thaxton's plan might have actually worked, because look at how fast they are running him. They were 3 seconds back just a few laps ago.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, he's all out there by himself, too, in the iRacing package, a little bit off from the real world where, you know, you kind of factor in it takes the draft heavily into account.
Yeah, there's some, but not as much as you think. Not. I mean, they just lopped off a full second.
Well, yeah,
And
tires are a factor. I'm not going to disagree there. I'm not going to disagree there and say that, the 48
Yeah.
doesn't have better tires. He clearly does, and you can see that. But you got to factor in that draft is playing a little bit of a factor.
oh, absolutely. I'm sure the speed is probably even. He actually ran. The 48 actually ran a lap slower that time, or I'm not a lap, a tenth slower than his previous lap. So the closer that he got to him, he actually ran slower.
Right now, 3 wide for the lead. Matt Hoyle on the top. Susie splits the middle, but Glenn Murphy Jr. on the bottom. I think he's going to come out on top there.
Yeah, the 81 car is going to have the run coming off here. He's going to take back over as your new leader. So while we've been talking, I've been watching. Joshua Thaxton was almost 18 seconds back. He is now 15 seconds back. So the later that you could technically run, it may have paid off for him. I don't know how far he would have been behind the leaders had he had a good, clean stop. But he's now 14.6. That was a half a second in that lap. So he's now running half a second lap faster. If he'd have been 5 seconds back when he came out or 6 seconds back when he came out, he could potentially have caught these guys and passed them.
And right now, 47 laps in at the stripe. Josh Susie, your leader. Murphy second. Hoyle looks like he'll make a nice hole for himself in third, depending on where Tyler Pop's going to, sit. It looks like Tyler Pop might get the pass on him. He'll look to the inside, but not go for it there. Oh, maybe a little bit of contact.
The 29 car is already wanting new tires. I'm sure he attempted to short pit and see if that would work. I don't think that it played out the way that he thought it would. Definitely falling further back because he was actually gaining, if you recall, he was actually gaining on that number 48 car before the pit stops.
Yeah, that he was. And the first yellow flag of the night flies. It is Josh Thaxton gone around on the front stretch. Looks like he made contact with the other 18 car. And I'm not sure who that is. That's Ryan Broderick.
Yeah, Broderick.
And, yeah, that's a little bit confusing, the other 18. But I guess Kyle Busch car makes it a little bit easier. But, yeah, you look at that here. And he was going in the corner. Broderick was up high, hard into the outside wall, spun himself around. Contact with the 18 of Thaxton. Hank Allen got a little chunk of it. Chris Ostrander barely slipped by, but that's real unfortunate for Josh Thaxton. That may very well have ended his championship hopes right there. He'll have to get a fast repair, which he'll have one. Oh no, he
I don't think he used it. I if he did, I'd be shocked because he barely bumped the inside wall.
I don't remember how bad it was. I'm hoping he didn't, but if he did, I'm thinking of Abney. Yeah, I'm thinking
now
of Abney.
you're saying. Now, I agree with you. If he's out of fast repairs, this is it. Glenn Murphy Jr. pretty much just has to finish the race at this point. However, believe it or not, even though getting wrecked, if he has a fast repair, this might have actually been good for him because he was
caution.
14. Yes, he was 14 seconds back. Really not much of a chance. Kind of taking himself out if we went green the rest of the way. If he's got a fast repair, this puts him back into a position, although it will be probably he's coming in 14th. It'll give him an opportunity to get back out there and be closer to those guys and actually have a shot to try to do something.
Well, we'll see what happens. He gets into the box. And yes,
Yeah,
he
there's
did have
his
a
fast
fast
repair.
repair. So we'll be right back. Glenn Murphy Jr., your race leader here from the beautiful Homestead Miami Speedway. Don't go anywhere. Green Flag Racing returns in just a moment. Back live here, 52 out of 125 laps in, and we'll have a total of 73 laps to go when we go back to Green Flag Racing. Ronald, what have you thought of this racing so far?
It's been kind of like the real race, I think, that we saw on TV yesterday, where wasn't a whole lot of excitement going on out there. Hope it picks up. I know the 48 doesn't want to see it pick up.
I'm about to say it's been pretty exciting. We've seen a lot of three-wide racing at the beginning of the run anyway.
Yeah, but you want to see good tight racing at each and every lap. As we take the green flag, 48 fires off, very well gets about a car length advantage.
Oh,
car
Tyler
and a half.
Pop, big block on the number 24. Clay Dildon puts it 3 wide.
Puts it 3 wide. The
There's your
24 is going to
excitement
take
right
it down
there.
there.
3
Yes,
wide. They're really tight up there.
Wow,
that
here
could
comes
end
Randy
badly.
Arms.
Yeah, they were really tight up there for a second, almost a little too tight in my opinion. And they're 3 wide again.
Yep,
Matt
they're going to go 3
Hoyle.
wide and 3 and 4,
Oh!
and the 24 gets hooked. If
Can
they
he
stay off him,
save
he'll
it?
save it.
Tyler Pop did not stay off of him. That's the problem. He stayed right in the
Big rack,
gas.
Big rack.
And Clay Dildon, Josh Thaxton gets turned around again.
And there's
Thaxton, Abney got collected.
not a lot of damage. I think he can go down and get it repaired and still have a
little bit
shot.
on the right front, but let's get a look at, of course, the first initial crash, which, in my opinion, if the 13 had backed off, that might have prevented the crash from even happening.
Yeah,
He
the
just
24
stayed in it.
had it saved. We didn't get to see if he would have overcorrected the other direction.
That's the
But
question.
it did look like he had it saved.
But the 13 stayed in it, but he did have cars behind him, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't think he. I don't know if he just didn't see that he was actually sideways.
And the other crash there, the second part of that equation with Josh Thaxton. Unfortunately, that resulted at the end of it. Everyone had scrambled to avoid, and in that confusion of scrambling to avoid that crash, you see Josh Thaxton slid up just across the nose of Brandon Thornhill and actually set that crash off himself, which is the unfortunate fact of the matter for Josh Thaxton. Now, the other unfortunate fact of the matter for Josh Thaxton, I know it's not a lot of damage, Ron, but look at where it occurs. Thaxton gets into Thornhill turn and then gets clipped in the nose by
yeah, but it was more towards the side of the fender. So as long as his nose is clean, yes, it's still gonna hurt him.
Well, I'm not worried about the nose. I'm not too much worried about the nose as much as I'm worried about possible steering damage.
That is a remote possibility. I actually did not think about that. So
because that looked like it hit more so on the wheel than on any part of the car body.
Agreed.
So my
time will tell here how long he sits on pit road.
About a sec. My worry there would be more along steering damage rather than aero, because aerodynamically, you look at that fender, it's not too bad. As you said, yeah, it'll definitely be an issue, but if the steering is compromised or anything in the suspension, it's a write-off. Unfortunately, so that's an unfortunate situation. We'll talk to Clay Dildine, driver of the number 24 machine, as he pulls it into his pit box.
Let's go ahead and give him a moment while he does his pit.
Get through his pit cycle and let him get out of pit road before we bring him in.
I'm watching Thaxton. Here comes, okay, 4 tires are down. So I'm watching the clock here. That's over 10 seconds of damage so far.
Dildine's off. We'll bring him up in here real quick. Clay Dildine, have you got a copy on us?
But there's no way. Like, I'm not going to be able to fucking keep up with anybody.
Hey, Clay, this is Ronald Klein up in the booth. You got a copy
on us?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, from your perspective, what happened there between you and the 13 of Tyler Pop?
Well, I just got drove over. Straight, just flat out drove through in.
Now,
of course, he turns me, and I go to save it, try to save it, and I had it saved, but he keep getting drove through, you know, kind of hard to save on.
Now, up until that point, how has this car been running for you? How was the night going?
It's actually going really well for me. I started 14th, drove up to 4th or 5th on that first run there. I got a lot of speed here. Other than that, I mean, I'm driving pretty good. I mean, that was my shot to kind of set sail, but you saw how that worked out.
Now, I'm guessing you already used the fast repair, or you're saving it for even more damage, potentially?
I'm going to hang on to it here for a little bit. We're going to see how we run. Hopefully, we're not too slow. I got a lot of damage here. I'm probably not going to be able to keep up with the pace too much, but we'll do the best we can and try to save our fast repair.
Now, if you get it fixed, when you get it fixed, since you have the fast repair, do you think you have a shot at the win tonight before we let you go down to go green?
We're going to give every chance we got. We're going to have to make up some track position again. Hopefully some cautions will fall my way and we'll get the right brakes and we'll have another chance to get back up there.
All right, well, thanks for talking to us, Clay. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Clay Dildine, driver the number 24, folks. A little bit frustrated with that situation, as you can see. Glenn Murphy Jr., he'll be your leader. He elects for the outside line on this restart. Can't say I blame him at Homestead. The outside line can be a better line at times, and well, we'll see how it plays out for him. Pace car down, green flag, we're racing. Pretty good start there, down into the corner, 3 wide again. Man, these guys waste no time at all. 3 wide through 1 and 2. Ron, what do you think?
I got my camera pointed towards a different set of cars right now. I was waiting to see if that car was going to have the speed to get to another car. Looks like the 13's headed down pit road. My focus will shift back towards the front of the field now.
Yeah, he's going in the pits. I was wondering what was going on there. I thought maybe he accidentally went down the access road, but no, he's committing to a pit stop.
I'll tell you what, here comes that number 8 car. One thing I know about Randy Arms is when he smells, and it's not really blood because the 48's doing what he needs to do, but when I say smells blood, he smells the front. He drives a little different. He you can tell he wants it.
And right now, 61 laps into the race. Race starting to wind down here. Glenn Murphy Jr.'s championship. He can feel it within his grasp. He has led 10 laps here tonight. Randy Arms, again, has not won since Eldora. Looking to go back to victory lane tonight. Do you see that 8 car going to victory lane?
I do. I really do. He's in a great position here. If he's capable of the long run, which earlier he was not. We'll see if he is now. I think the 8 is a legitimate shot at the win here tonight.
And right now, Jonathan Schwartz pushing Randy Arms. Susie fourth. He was very strong early on, but it looks like that 81's falling off. I wonder if, again, as I said at the beginning of the race, I think changing track conditions, I think as we're getting more into the evening hours, and we still got a lot of way to go in this race, I'm telling you, I think the nighttime's really going to benefit Glenn Murphy Jr.
That is a definite possibility. Let's not forget that last caution, though. If you focus on the nose of the number 81 car, he was actually the car that got into the back of the 13 that got into the 24. So the 81's got nose damage. He's probably didn't think that it was that bad.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I just noticed it.
Yep, he's got nose damage. That's probably why he's just a little bit off.
Yeah, that will be holding up, too, just a little bit.
I wouldn't count that 81 out because if he can stay close enough to get a little bit of draft here without these guys running away from him, goes in on a green flag stop, he'll probably use that quick repair, and good chance you'll see that 81 floating back to the front.
And right now, Randy Arms looks like he might lose the spot to Schwartz.
Randy really hugging that line out of 2. 58 running a bit higher line, seems to be able to carry a little bit more momentum off. The 58's going to duck down to the inside. He's showing the 8 the nose as we come down into turn 1. No contest. The 8 is going to let him, nope. Let me retract that. The 8 kind of pulled it down a little bit, pinched a little bit. That did not allow the 58 to drift up. And that's going to be a drag race going down into turn 3. The 58 throws it in pretty hard. Oh, there was almost contact there between the 8 and the 58. This brings the 81 to the back of the 8.
He's trying to get in the party, and he's giving him a big push. Like watching race at Talladega, he worked his way in there.
And that is actually what the 81 wants. He wants to be right there behind somebody. I don't think he's going to want to be
close
in
up
front.
the aero difference.
You'll see the 8 probably pull upside of him coming into the turn here. We'll see what happens. These guys are getting pretty aggressive right now. The 8 gets passed and cleared by the 81. The 8's going to get right back to the bumper.
And right now, 68 laps into this race.
And here comes the 58 underneath the 8 car. Randy Arms. Randy just barely clipped the wall going into 3. Saw a little spark come off of it. The 58's going to motor down to the inside at the line. They are dead even. We'll see how that turns out going into 1 and 2.
Going into lap 69 here, and it is now Jonathan Schwartz in 3rd.
Once again, Matt, I said, if he was good on the long run, but it does not look like Randy Arms has a long run capability in that car. Maybe just not to his liking. So maybe somebody to watch out for if we have caution right towards the end and he is up there towards the front. might be able to pull off a win that way. But I'll tell you, I'm really impressed with the damage that Joshua Susi has on the front of that car. He is closing the gap on your current race and championship leader, Glenn Murphy Jr. It was about a second 2 laps ago. It's down to 8/10. We'll see what it is at the line here, but very impressed. Even with damage, the 81 has still found speed.
Yeah, 70 laps into this race now, and it is Josh Susi in second, but Glenn Murphy Jr. all out in front.
Doesn't seem right, Matt. Went from 8/10 down to 5/10, so a half a second. He cut off 3/10 of a second that last lap. I'm kind of in shock right now that Joshua Susi is so good right now that the damage that should be hurting him is really not affecting him.
Well, I mean, it's all square in the nose, so it might not be affecting him too bad, and we're going to break from using the realistic angle for a second just to kind of highlight this damage because, we can. And you look at it, all it really is, it pushes in the splitter and the aero duct just a little bit, barely pushes it in too, mind you. So it's really not that bad a damage. He probably barely even notices that it's there.
Yeah, but I see the hood crinkled, and usually when the hood crinkles, you give up a little bit. And I'm not saying it's a lot, but you give up a little bit.
Well, that might be why he went from leading to only being 3/10 back. That might be the little bit that he gave up.
I'm hearing some radio chatter.
73 laps into this race now, and Josh Susi right behind Glenn Murphy Jr.
Had a bit of an incident with the 13 and the 24 again, but no caution. Looked like the 24 was out there hunting for a while and finally found him a way to give the 13 a little nudge and let him know that he was a little bit unhappy with him.
Here's a replay of that. Or maybe this was right after that happened? Here's your replay of that. Yeah, just sent him right up the racetrack. No spin, but yeah, he put him out for a little bit of a ride.
As the 81 draws the beat on the 48, he's got him side by side going down into turn 3, slides up the track just a little bit. The 48's going to maintain his position on the outside. He is losing ground, now starts to make it back up as we head towards the start-finish line. Going into 1 and 2, the 81 car is going to have the advantage on that inside lane. The 48 does not put up much of a fight, says go on.
And
some odd laps later, here we are, folks. The 81 of Joshua Susi back out front, even with that damage. Very surprised. Maybe it's not affecting, but I do believe it's affecting his car. Maybe it's not much, but it's affecting his car, and that should scare you. If he's got damage and he just ran back to the front, what's going to happen when he goes in here in a few laps, gets new tires and fixes the car, if he chooses to fix the car?
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Hey, you see certain situations where you get a little bit of damage that sometimes winds up helping you. Who knows? Maybe something like that somehow. Look at Kyle Larson, 2014 in real life. He lost the bit of the rear end of his car at Michigan, wound up giving him a little bit of speed. So that might be something right there.
Yeah, that's very true. So tell you what, folks, I don't want to be the spoiler, so I'll kind of hint at it. Matt, I've already hinted at it. It's not gonna happen tonight, buddy.
Yeah. Not for Thaxton.
For all those Thaxton fans out there, really hate to break the bad news, but
I got a feeling whatever damage it was may have possibly been a little bit towards the steering column.
There's about 45 laps to go, and
He's the last car on the lead lap.
he's the last car on the lead lap. And even if your championship leader, were to wreck out right now, he has led a lap. That puts him 18 points up. He can only finish it right now in the 18th position.
Yeah.
But those other cars that are laps down are out of the race. So the lowest that he can finish right now is actually going to be 15th position. So you're...
Well, no, Hank Allen's on track, so 16th.
Okay, 16th. So Hank must have...
Hank's in the pits, but he'll probably come
pits.
back. He'll probably come back
gotcha.
out.
Yeah,
towards
gotcha,
the end.
gotcha. Yep. So, but realistically, I think the best he can finish is 16, or the worst he could finish would be 16th. So, Glenn Murphy looks like he's going to be able to just kind of ride it out here. No, doesn't, or he can go for the win at this point. Don't matter.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he chooses to go for, but he falls back to third as we close in towards the end of this race. Well, here's my question. You think we finish under the lights, or you think we'll finish in the fleeting hours of daylight?
So we had started the room. It was 1 o'clock. The server time was 1 o'clock. We are now at 4 o'clock. We are 2/3 of the way through. So that has changed about 4 hours. So we're probably gonna finish in sunset or just after sunset. Unfortunately, I do not have when the sunset is going to be, but I think we'll probably finish right around 2 hours from now. So actually, no, we're not going to see darkness. We might see sunset, and that's about it.
Might see lights come up on the track, maybe.
Yeah, there's a possibility for lights to come up. Track's probably going to continue to cool down. More grip. Cars are going to be faster initially after pit stops. And
well, do you think we see the 81 go to victory lane? That's a good question.
Yeah, there's no question in my mind at this point. I mean, he's got a damaged race car, and he's out to a 1.2 second lead. He's been the fastest car all night long with damage on his car. My pick to win the race goes out the window unless there's a caution towards the end of the race and something drastic happens to the 81 that shuffles him to the back, or he is the caution. I just don't see anybody beating him.
Yeah, I got a feeling with you on that one. I think you're correct. So we'll see that 81 most likely in victory lane. But where do you think we'll see Glenn finish? That's the question. Obviously championship, but on the scoreboard, where do you think we see that 48?
I think he'll come across in either second or third, kind of where he is now. He's been battling pretty much all night with Jonathan Schwartz. They've kind of gone back and forth trading who was in second place. Early on, it's usually Glenn, and then later, as the run goes on, it's Jonathan. So I think, barring no major disasters or mistakes on pit road, pit crew failure, that kind of thing, I think your top three is probably set. These are probably the three individuals you'll be interviewing at the end of the race.
Yeah, definitely a good guess on that one. How about Matt Hoyle in fourth? I'd say if anyone's an upset winner in any kind of crazy situation, I'm going with that 29 car. I like the way he looks. I got a feeling he might upset.
And not only that, but when he was on the same strategy, he was faster at the end of the run. So there is that potential if he stays on the same strategy as everybody else. Maybe he continues to be faster. That lap, not so much. He lost a full 3/10 of a second. But yeah, I'm enjoying that paint scheme. Funny story. Was never a Jeff Gordon fan until until late in his career, actually.
Yeah, I've never been a Jeff Gordon fan. I think the best career decision Jeff Gordon made is when he decided to retire. But I gotta say, I do like that paint scheme.
I respect Jeff Gordon for what he's done for the sport. When him and Dale Earnhardt were battling it out, that was probably the pinnacle of NASCAR, in my opinion. I don't. That's just my opinion. I don't take anything away from anybody else, but the battles that those guys had, I think it was more for show than it was in real life, because they were, they were partners, business partners. So it's pretty cool to learn a lot about all that, and just appreciate what he's done for the sport, and I respect him for what he accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a great driver, and I'm not going to say that he isn't. The wins, the championships. I don't like him as a person. He seems fake, if you know what I mean.
I can see how that would come across, as we see Jonathan Schwartz and Glenn Murphy pit together,
most
second,
of the front
third.
of the field. Top 5, all except
whoa,
Daxton.
Whoa. The 48 almost got her sideways. He wiggled and wiggled and wiggled.
Last ditch effort.
Yeah. And kudos to Thaxton for not giving up, but unfortunately with that damage on his car, he's really not. He wasn't far from going a lap down. I mean, it's 31 seconds roughly, and he's 23 seconds back from the leader. When we before, or actually, there we go. Joshua Stussy just came down pit road. He's actually 24 seconds back, so it's about 7 to 8 seconds from going a lap down. Great effort by the 18 team. Should hold its head high. Second place is not an easy task. Obviously, winning a championship is even harder, but nothing to be disappointed or ashamed about. He came in here and he tried, made a couple mistakes, but that just makes you a better driver. See how long Josh Osusi stays out. Surprised. There we go. I'm sorry, I missed his pit stop. So I'm going to take a look at the front of his car. And there's still damage on his car. So either he has used a fast repair already, or he felt it was not necessary to
with how he's
get his
been
car
running.
repaired.
How he's been running, I guess, if I were him, I wouldn't take that fast repair. He's been running, I think. Clay Dildon holding up his
almost
own
got it
teammate there.
again.
Almost holding up the 48. That's his own teammate. 3 wide now.
Susie was quick enough and far enough out in front. Ran 2 extra laps, and that brought him out basically side by side with the 48. You see Susie go to the front here shortly, in my opinion, barring some kind of wreck.
He's there in second now.
And here comes that other battle.
And look at the push from the 58, the 48.
Here comes that battle with the 58 and the 18. Take a quick run through the field here. We got Josh Osusi, your leader after pit stops have cycled through. Glenn Murphy Jr. currently in second place. Jonathan Schwartz now in third. Those 3 cars all running together. Then we go back to Clay Dilding running in the 4th position in that 24 Exalta car. Then you've got Josh Thaxton on pit road, going to be knocking down the chart. He'll go down the charts. Matthew Hoyle in the 29 just made a pass on the 24 for the 5th position. Tyler Popp in the 13 car sitting back in 6th. Chris Ostrander in the 73 car is 7th. Randy Arms in the 8 car is 8th. Michael Tant in that green machine, the number 50, is in 9th position. Andrew Fezenden, after getting that early damage, is rebounded to come all the way back up to 10th position. Josh Thaxton now being shown 1 lap down in 11th position. Kevin Trzynski is on pit road. Ryan Broderick a lot of damage to that car, but he is coming back out on the racetrack in 13th position. Barry Hines off the track in 14th. Joshua Abney back out on track in 15. Brandon Hill has parked it for the night. Hank Allen sitting on pit road. Rusty Farrell and the remaining drivers have all taken it to the garage.
Yeah, well, Hank Allen, you got to remember, still on track. Well, off the track, I should say.
Yeah, I called him in pit road. He's just sitting there on pit road.
It'll be interesting to see if he comes out. I would imagine he'll probably come out for maybe the last few laps just to pick up a few positions, or if that.
These guys up front still battling pretty close, pretty hard right now. The 81 car and the 48 and 58. Susie, Murphy, Schwartz, they got it going on. A little train right now. 3-car train up towards the front. And nobody's getting away as of right now. We'll see. I think it takes about 10 laps and then Susie starts to pull away.
Yeah, right now watching these guys rock that bottom lane. And it's some pretty good racing now. Those 3 drivers pretty much under a blanket. Susie not able to pull away like the way he was earlier.
Cars are very spread out at this point. I think we're probably gonna go green to the finish here. It's really gonna matter when these guys have to take their final pit stop. Let me take a look real quick here.
9 laps in, you go about 30 laps on a pit cycle.
Yeah, it looks like about 32 laps. So that's going to put our leader pitted on 91 coming in 92. So we'll call it 92. He is literally like 2 laps shy of fuel. My question is he saving right now? Is that why he's not pulling away?
Yeah, that might be. He might be trying to extend that as far as he possibly can go.
I mean, it's the end of the year. If all these other guys got to duck off and he starts just kind of shutting the car off and coasting around while they got to try to, if he doesn't pit, they got to make up 30 seconds. He can, for a few laps, he can probably just shut the car off and coast through the corners.
Yeah, that's a pretty good strategy to have right there.
I don't know if he can save 2 laps. It's not a lot. We'll see. What do you think? You think he's going to have to pit, or you think he's going to go for the win on fuel strategy?
I'm going to say they're going to have to pit one more time. I don't see him going all the way to the end. That might be a little bit too hard. But
I know the 48 and the unless there's more fuel in the tank than what we know.
And I was about to say, I've seen these guys do some pretty crazy stuff on fuel mileage, so I wouldn't put it past them to try, though. I would not put it past him to try.
Interesting. It would be really interesting to know. I'm kind of thinking that they have enough to make it to the end because the 48 and the 58 pitted at the same time, but Susie stayed out 2 laps longer. So that makes me think that these guys were probably within their window when they pitted. And I was wrong. It was only a lap later. Susie came in 1 lap later. So
4 laps
interesting.
In now.
I hate it when they got me guessing. Susie's starting to pull away just a little bit. If he was saving, I don't think he's saving much anymore. He's out to about a 6/10 gap now on second place of Glenn Murphy Jr. So, yeah, laps are winding down real fast here, Matt. We've only got about 21 laps to go.
And right now, 9, I don't know where I'm getting 9 from. I meant to say 105 laps in, and Josh Susie's starting to pull away just a little bit. He's starting to make a little bit of a gap for himself at the moment. We'll have about 20 laps to go when we hit the stripe this time around.
Here comes a pass. Randy Arms making a pass on the number 50 of Michael Tant. That's going to move Randy Arms up into the 7th position if he can complete that pass, which it looks like he does. Not a lot of other racing out there to call. Everybody else is kind of single file. A couple cars a lap down. The 50 does a crossover move, and he's going to give the number 8 a run for his money on the inside lane here. Coming out of 2. Number 8's going to have a nice run on the outside.
That was tight.
So the 8 and the 50 mixing it up here. That is the closest battle on the track right now. Glenn Murphy has relinquished his second place to Jonathan Schwartz. Kind of like I said earlier, Glenn Murphy Jr. seems to be a little better at the beginning of the run. Schwartz seems to be a little better at the end of the run. They keep flipping back and forth between second and third place, but the 81 car still the man to beat. He's now out to a 1.3 second lead.
And right now it is all Josh Susie, your current race leader. 17 to go at the stripe.
Didn't Susie win last week?
Yeah, I want to say he did. I'll double check that one, but yeah, I believe so. Looking at the schedule and results, yeah, Josh Susie won last week, and then you go you go all the way back to where did he win again? He won 2 races. He won a few races this season. He won Talladega in the spring. That's right. So yeah, Josh Susie did win last week. Can he go 2 in a row?
I thought so. I thought I was remembering correctly. So 81 out there leading the way with coming on, just completing lap 110. He's now got a 1.6 second lead. So once again, towards the end of the run, the 81 just has something figured out that the rest of these guys do not have.
And right now it's 15 to go at the line. Josh Susie, your race leader. When do you think we'll see these guys hit the pits?
I don't think they're going to hit the pits. I think that it's done. I think they all pitted when they needed to, and I think this is it. This is how they've got what they've got.
And right now, 14 to go here. And Josh Susie, with pretty much what has been a brilliant strategy, looking to lead most of this race here. You go, and he's led half of this race tonight, looking to lead even more. I tell you, he's had a great night and a great end to the season.
I could not agree with you more. The last couple of races, he's looked very, very dominant as he puts another car a lap down. Andrew Fessenden now the first car 1 lap down.
Yeah, they got right past Fessenden. And the lights have come on at Homestead, Miami with 12 laps to go. And we're racing into the sunset here for the 2019 season. Very fitting way to end the season, I'd say, racing into the sunset. Quite literally. I don't know, that's just me.
It's a good way to look at it, that's for sure. What do we got left? We got 11 laps at the line.
Yes, sir.
11 more times around, and we're going to crown a champion, and we're going to have a race winner. Doesn't look like it's going to be one and the same.
And right now, Glenn Murphy Jr. going for his 4th championship in a row. Next year will be 5 in a row, and if he has any season like he did in 2019, he'll take his 5th in a row, though I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves now. We still have 11 laps to go till we crown a champ this year.
I got to be honest, that'd be kind of crazy. Him driving the 48, running the 48 scheme, only team to ever win 5 in a row. I mean, that would be crazy. That'd be crazy.
And in a series that runs almost in a series that almost mirrors the real iRacing schedule, mind you.
That'd be pretty insane.
Looking at the full season for next year, yeah, they mirror the schedule again, pretty much identical, except for a few deviations. They'll go to Montreal in the Cup cars, and they'll, of course, go to Rockingham in the Cup cars, though the Rockingham race, I believe, will be a non-points race. And yeah, Rockingham will be a non-points race, though I believe Montreal might count. And I'm really hoping it does, because yes, Montreal does count, because Montreal and Montreal is one of the best tracks on iRacing, in my opinion. But yeah, so for the most part, they follow the Cup schedule to the letter, and it'll be very fun to watch. So if you've enjoyed the 2019 Anarchy Motorsports Cup Series, we do hope you come back for the 2020 season. Now, I know you're probably wondering where's the whole 2019 season? Well, again, we had some copyright issues with our channel that unfortunately prevented us from airing all of the 2019 season up. But we do have the end of it for the most part. But yeah, come back next year for the 2020 season. It'll be even better. And yeah, again, following the real schedule. Have 2 duels at Daytona, the Daytona 250 and the Clash. And that'll be me, Jacob Young, and, well, hopefully Ronald Klein will be joining us for some of those races again, if you're free.
Oh, I can't commit to anything that far out, but there is a possibility.
Oh, we'll see. I always like to have 3 people up in the booth for these races. They're a bit of longer ones.
We're closing down here.
6 laps to go in 2019 for these guys. Josh Susie looking to win his 3rd race of the season.
I gotta think that if they were gonna stop, somebody would have split it in half or done a short pit to try to gain track position and new tires. So I'm pretty sure that these guys all have what they need for fuel. This is it. 5 more times around this track when they hit the start-finish line, and that's going to be the end of the season.
Actually, I need to add, Josh Susie won at New Hampshire, so this will be his 4th win of the season. And one other thing. Now, while Glenn Murphy Jr.'s got this championship with a nice little lock and key on it, Josh Thaxton, unfortunately, by virtue of his damage and finishing in 10th spot here tonight, he's going to lose 2nd in the point standings. Josh Susie was only 2 points behind Thaxton going into this race tonight. Josh Susie will be 2nd in the point standings. He'll be your runner-up in 2019 in just 4 laps' time.
Ouch.
And we'll ride on board with him here.
Not sure what is going on, but Jonathan Schwartz has been cutting into lead. It's going to be too little too late, but nonetheless, he has been cutting into the lead. With just about 3 laps to go, I don't think that he can make up a 1.5 seconds, but he was a little over 2 seconds back, and he has cut into that lead.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. Too much race, too little race, too much distance. We'll ride on board Josh Susie for the final 3 laps of the 2019 season. Well, as we race into the sunset, let's, you know, look at what we had tonight. Probably one of the probably a very exciting race, all things considered. We had a lot of action on track. And I gotta say, the entire 2019 season, folks, if you've watched each race, if you've been around for a lot of the season, it's probably been one of the most exciting seasons of AMS I've broadcasted. I cannot wait for next year and for 2020. It is going to be great. Going to have hopefully same faces, hopefully same great drivers, same great tracks, and the same great cup cars. Josh Thaxton, unfortunately, getting put another lap down. Well, here we go. Over the top paints and designs. Final lap of the race coming up here.
White flag is in the air. The 81 is taking the white flag. He's 2.2 seconds out in front of the 58. Not sure if he was holding back a little bit or if Jonathan Schwartz has used his tires up, but the 81 heading down the back stretch for the final time. Going into turn 3, coming out of 4, gonna let Matt have the call.
Well, for the final time of 2019, coming off of turn number 4, it is going to be Josh Susie, your race winner. Jonathan Schwartz second, Glenn Murphy Jr. He'll pick up your championship and third place. Matt Hoyle fourth, Chris Ostrander fifth, Michael Tant, Randy Arms, Andrew Fesden, Tyler Pop, Clay Dildine, Josh Thaxton, Ryan Broderick, Josh Abney, Kevin Trzynski, Barry Hines, Brandon Thornhill, Hank Allen, Rusty Farrow, Brian Sullivan, Jameson Miller, Joseph Green, and Scott Tucker and Tyler Meeks did not take the grid, but they will be scored 22nd and 23rd respectively. But the man of the hour is Josh Susie, picking up win number 4 in the final race of 2019, just as the sun sets and just as the lights come up here in Homestead, Miami.
48's getting some congratulatory bumps, a little bit of tire rubs.
We're going to go from the back up. We're going to interview our third place finisher and 2019 champion. 4 championships in a row now for Glenn Murphy Jr. Glenn, how does that feel for you, man?
Oh, it's crazy, man. It's been a long journey. It started a long time ago, but wish Thaxton wouldn't have had those issues with me last week. We could have a little bit closer race tonight, but hey, we won it, and here we are.
Well, you kind of knew coming into this race that you had that championship locked, or you had a very good chance at it at least. Did that make things easier at all coming into tonight?
I still wanted to win. You know, I always want to win. Susie was on another zip code fast, and I don't know what he was doing. Man, I was behind him multiple times with the same tires. He ran me down. Like, I still wanted to win the race tonight, but you know, hey, we'll take the championship, and congrats to him on the speed. And that was a pretty impressive win.
Now, 4th championship in a row. I don't want to predict anything for next year, but what do you think your chances for 5 are?
Hopefully, I can get it done. I mean, Jimmy did it in the real world, which is insane still to think about. I don't think we really have a true appreciation for how hard that was for them guys doing real life. But I think it'd be really cool. It's a long season, and you got guys like Susie showing this kind of speed. It's going to be hard to get it done. So come back and get back at it and see what happens.
Well, you got the same number, you got the same manufacturer, and the same sponsor, so you have a good shot at it, at least as far as replicating the looks go. But you'll be doing it at a different track next year. How do you feel about switching it up from Homestead?
I hate Phoenix. I hate Phoenix in real racing. I hate Phoenix in iRacing. I believe we're going to the B car. I'm not sure. So that's going to change up a lot of stuff for next year. Them cars drive really on edge on the long run this year. So if it's the same tire model, you know, it's going to be a different style race next year. So I'm excited for it, and we'll see the challenges it brings.
All right. Well, at sponsors, what are the sponsors you want to thank here?
Yeah, thank Lowe's and Ally, Blue Moon. Obviously, thank you guys, man, for showing up and doing this for us every week. Thank AMS, Chris, and all those guys that put this on. They do a hell of a job. And then Randy and Clay, as always, for being the great teammates they are. And this is always a team deal to get this done. So appreciate it from all of you guys, and I'll see you next year.
Now, real quick before we let you go, here in 2019, are we gonna see that Blue Moon car on track again next year? Because I absolutely love that paint job. Nothing against the Ally car, but that Blue Moon car was really nice though.
Yeah, I didn't have the scheme once we went over to the new Camaro. I had it for the Ford, so I don't have one yet for the Camaro. So I'm gonna have to have one of my guys, Jameson, Dalton. They both make good schemes. Dalton does some really good job designing stuff, so maybe I'll have him come out with something fresh out of the box for Daytona. We'll see.
All right, well, we'll see you in February. We'll see you at Daytona and maybe back in the championship circle at the end of 2020, but that's a little bit ahead of ourselves now. Have a good one, my man, and congratulations once again on 4 championships in a row. That's an insane number right there.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, well, next up on the interview block, it'll be our second place finisher, and second place here tonight, that was Jonathan Schwartz. Jonathan Schwartz, fantastic driver. It'll be with Ronald Klein interviewing our second place finisher.
How about it, Jonathan Schwartz? You get a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, sir. Well, saw you battling it out all night long with Glenn Murphy Jr. for second place. I kind of had noted that he seemed to be a little better on the short run, but you seem to be a little better on the long run. Unfortunately, neither one of you seem to have anything for the 81. Talk to us about your night.
The night could have been a lot better for us. Need a little bit more short run speed, but 58 Cortland Chevrolet was pretty good tonight overall. Car kept getting tight at longer as we went, so but Susie was on a whole nother level to us tonight, so congrats to him on the win and congrats to Glenn on another championship.
And we heard similar sentiments from the 48 car of Glenn Murphy Jr. about the 81. Strikingly enough, it looked like the 81 had some hood damage. I thought that would slow him down, or that he would take the quick repair on the final pit stop, and he did not, which really shocked me. But all in all, you guys had a great battle out there for second and third position. Anything that you think that you could have done differently throughout the race, whether beginning of the race, end of the race, to possibly get up there and challenge that 81 for the win?
The only thing I could have done was a little better fire off speed on the restart, so if I could have gotten past Glenn on that final restart, maybe it would have had a chance at Susie before he got away. Harris everything with his package. It's been that way all year, so maybe something will change next season, but I don't know. So Susie had a great car tonight, and Clean Air was king once again, so look forward to next week.
Before we let you go, I'd like to give you a chance to give any shout-outs to any sponsors, fans, friends, family, anybody out there you want to give a shout-out to?
I want to thank you guys for putting on a great show and broadcasting for us all year, so a lot of fun working with you guys, and definitely thanks to Anarachy Motorsports Series for what they do, and Chris Ostrander for putting on a show, and all the admins. So it's been a great year, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Copy that. We greatly appreciate what you guys did for us tonight. Put on a great show for the fans. Enjoy that second place. Matt had mentioned he thinks he may have actually moved up into. I'm sorry, I'm confusing.
Yeah, you got the wrong
I
driver.
spoke a little too soon there. Congratulations on the second place finish. Hope you have a good time and celebrating it.
All right, thank you.
All right, and next up on the interview block, it'll be first place driver. That'll be none other than Josh Susie, who, with this race win, is able to advance to second place in the championship standings. How's that feel?
Pretty good. It was about as high as expectations as I could get going into tonight.
Now, how did that car handle for you tonight here at Homestead?
For once, not half bad. You still get pretty tight, aero tight. For whatever reason, though, I just had the line figured out, and I felt like Glenn Murphy Jr. usually feels everywhere else.
Now, the question on everyone's mind here, when you got that damage, how'd you keep this car on rails, man? Because you were flying.
Well, luckily it was only 5 seconds of damage. I was told it looked worse than what it was, but when I came down pit road, it was only 5 seconds, and I didn't really knock the radio or anything, so that was good. I didn't have any overheating issues. I was able to save my fast repair just in case something happened, because you never know. And like I said, I just had that line figured out, and we're just digging.
All right, so what are your expectations going into 2020 next season?
Oh man, I don't know. To be honest with you, I mean, obviously you got to factor in real life and everything that comes up along the way. A lot of things can change between now and then. But if things do work out as they have been, it's going to be hard to say. We're going back to the B car, so it's going to be a little bit different of a drive. I think it's going to put more talent into the driver and not so much how you use the air and track position and all that. So tire management will probably come back into play. So you'll probably see Glenn and Randy and Schwartz and them dominate a lot more than what they had been able to do, which they adapted really well throughout the year to this package. But I'm just gonna have to do my homework and see how she rolls.
All right, well, thanks for talking to us, man. Before we let you go, any sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, National Guard, Army, Napa. I want to thank you guys, as always, putting on the broadcast. Chris and all the admins putting on the league. I want to thank NIS for running on Sunday nights and us running the night after, because these last 3 or 4 weeks I've been doing the NIS races Sunday night, and I think that really shows a marked improvement on my races on Monday. As you can see, the past few weeks, I feel like it's really helped me step up my game more than anything, just to put laps in, and that's the biggest thing you can do is learn lines, put laps in, know what to expect in traffic, how important it is to be out front, stuff like that. And thank you guys for the season. We're going into the off season. I know they got some off season stuff planned. I probably won't be around for that, but it's gonna be nice to relax.
All right, thanks for talking to us, man, and good job on the win to close out 2019. We hope to see you back in 2020.
Thanks, bud.
All right, folks, and from all of us at the American Sim Network, we hope you enjoyed tonight's race. We hope you enjoyed the 2019 Anarchy Motorsports Cup Series season. Still got a lot of great action for you on the American Sim Network during the winter, Loose Lug Nuts Racing League, and we might pick up a few other stuff during the winter time to fill up the days. But don't worry, we'll be back for the 2020 season, kicking off in February with the Daytona Clash, the Anarchy Motorsports. Well, I guess it'll be the B car series, but it'll still, I don't know. AMS B car series, I don't know what we'll be calling it. But I'll tell you what, we'll be back. It'll be the same great drivers, the same great action, and we'll see you in 2020. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you for watching the American Sim Network.